Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today we have, as the title says, my top 10 EDC knives of all time. Now, yes, I did do a video similar to this a little more than a year ago, and it was top 5 EDCs of all time. I made that an open tag. This one also is open tag, meaning anybody, other YouTuber sees this and wants to do one, do it. Let me know. I'll add you to the playlist. I have a playlist for the one from last time. But it was a lot of fun, and especially this time, you know, a lot of us are stuck inside. We need stuff to watch, so yeah, let's make a big playlist for everybody to watch, because I think a lot of us are going to be in our houses for quite a while, so it'd be nice to have something to look at. But also, right after I did it, even though it was a lot of fun, I kind of wanted to redo it. First of all, 5 was too few. I think 5 was too few. I missed, there's a lot of stuff on there that I didn't have on there. Second of all, I think when I was picking them, I made some poor choices, and that I think I was just trying to make it more like, it almost became a list of like, if I could only own 5 knives, which I've done that before. So this is more like true top 10 EDCs of all time. There's some on here that are on here mostly because they're just icons. They're great knives, but they're still, you know, just icons. And maybe there's stuff from that brand that I personally like better, but I wouldn't put it in the, you know, top 10 of all time kind of list. And thirdly, you know, my tastes have changed. It's been over a year. This channel has grown rapidly. Thank you guys very much for that. I get my hands on a lot more stuff than I used to. So my tastes have changed. It's just human nature. If you're not moving forward, you're standing still. So my tastes have changed. So I wanted to redo it and update it. I will start out, before we get in the top 10, there are 2 omissions. One is a very glaring omission. That glaring omission is there is not a Chris Reeve Sebenza 31 on here. Probably would be. I don't have mine yet, so I haven't handled one. I only touched one briefly at Blade Show, like very briefly, and I didn't get one then. I don't even know if they were selling them, but I had a 21 before. They're still making the 21 right now, as far as I know. I don't know how long that's going to last, and I'm trying to keep all these knives that you can actually buy. So I don't know how long the 21 is going to be made, and I don't have the 31 yet. So that's the only reason why it's not on here. It almost certainly would be. It is unquestionably an outstanding knife. So I'm just explaining before the Chris Reeves fans, you know, jump on me, because you'll be justified in doing so. So I want to explain it beforehand, so I don't have to explain it 9 times in the comments. That's why. Also, I know people are going to ask, where's the Benchmade bug out? I don't think it's quite top 10 of all time yet. I know they're selling a crap ton of them, but there are still a lot of people who really don't like them because they're flexy and whatever. And it really is kind of a lightweight knife. If I was making a top 5 lightweight knives of all time, it would be on the list, but it's not on this one. So I just want to get those 2 out of the way, just to say that's why they're not on here. Both awesome knives. I love them both, but that's why they're not on here. So let's get going to the ones that are, now that we're 3 minutes in and I haven't shown a knife yet. First up, the least expensive knife on the list, $30 to $50, and those of you who have them are going to know what it is just by the sound. The Ontario Rat Model 1. Or the Model 2. You could go either way. I prefer the Model 1, the bigger one. I have a Model 2, but unfortunately it's disassembled at the moment because I dyed it and I just haven't put it back together yet. But awesome, awesome knife. This is the D2 model. That's, you know, 50 or a bit more. But the AUS 8 ones are a lot cheaper. Around 30 bucks. You can get them even less expensive. I hear at Walmart sometimes they're blowing them out. They just have them on the rack there and in the wall hanger package. And then sometimes you can get them on Amazon really cheap. But it is just an outstanding knife. If you are a knife collector just starting out, this is one of the first ones you should buy, because it's just great. It's just an awesome EDC. Nice simple drop point blade. Again, this is the D2 version, and it's dirty because I do use it. Very comfortable handle, awesome ergonomics, and just that blade is so great, and that action. So snappy, perfect detent, very smooth on phosphor bronze washers. For the price these things are, they're just ridiculously nice. It does have fancy plastic handles, but they don't feel cheap. I think they feel a lot like G10. They're not bad at all, but really love the Rat Model 1. And people make a lot of custom parts for these, even though they're a pretty cheap knife. I have seen custom scales for them. I know there's deep carry clips for them, all kinds of stuff. They're a modder's dream. People modify the heck out of them. A lot of people just buy the tan one so they can dye it another color. Just a really cool knife and an absolute icon. And one that I think if you're just starting a YouTube channel or something and you're like, oh, what should be the first knife that I buy? This is a pretty good argument. They're not expensive. It's a good benchmark for a whole lot of things. Get a Rat 1 or a Rat 2 or both of them. Not a bad choice at all. I know I got one of mine pretty early on when I first started, and I was glad to have it. Next up, this is a pretty new knife, but it's a version of an older knife. We have the Hogue Ritter RSK Mark 1-G2. This is a Knife Depot exclusive, but it's still on the list because even though it says exclusive, you think, oh, it's going to be hard to get. Brian, you said you weren't going to do that. No, but Knife Depot is going to make them continuously. They have a deal with Ritter. They're going to be around. They're already on like their 4th or 5th run of them. The new ones are 20 CV. My previous one I had was M390. I bought it because I knew it was going to be hot, and I wanted to see what Hogue was capable of, which the answer is a lot. Build quality on this thing is outstanding. Every Hogue I've ever handled, the build quality is unquestionably great. And it's just a really cool design. It is kind of an update of the classic, Benchmade Ritter grip Tilian, but that deal went away, so he went over to Hogue and had Hogue make them. Handle is somewhat similar to the grip Tilian, but if you hold them side by side, they are a little bit different. Blade shape is still pretty much the same as it was before, which means good. It's very good. Again, nice simple blade shape, great steel. Hogue sharpening is just fantastic when you get them. One of the best companies you can get. They come razor sharp. Like them and Cold Steel are probably the two best out of box blade sharpening jobs I get. Just awesome. Nice deep carry clip, very grippy handle, and they're only $160, which isn't bad at all for what you're getting. Not bad at all. And you're helping out Doug Ritter, who's a great dude. If you don't know what kniferights.org is, he's the head of that. They fight for our rights to be able to carry the knives that we want. They've gotten so many laws overturned in states or blocked laws from being passed. So a lot of states, if you can carry an automatic, unfortunately, they haven't gotten to New York yet, but I'm hoping that'll happen one of these days so I can carry an automatic again. But if you're in a state where you can carry an automatic and you used to not be able to, yeah, he probably did that. So it's a great guy to support. And it's just an awesome knife. Action is great. It's just, yeah, this is really good. I actually had one, did a few videos with it, sold it, and went on and bought another one, and haven't done a video with it since. I just wanted another one. I had no excuse. I wasn't planning on doing anything with it. I have a video coming up that I'm going to do with it, but it wasn't my intention when I bought it. I just really like it. I wanted another one back. Since I mentioned it a few times, I wasn't going to do it in this order, but we'll do this one. These are in no particular order, by the way. This is not 10 through 1 or anything. This is just listing them all off. We have the Benchmade grip Tilian. So yeah, handle shape pretty similar to what you saw on the Ritter, but it comes in so many different blade shapes, so many different sizes. This is the full size. This is my favorite, and my favorite configuration of the hundreds that you can get. It's the 20 CV sheep's foot blade with the G10 handles. I like the look of it. I like the feel of the G10 better than the Grivery. I like 20 CV, and I like the sheep's foot with the kind of Spider-esque hole on it. But you can get a drop point, you can get a Tanto, you can get a mini, like I said, you can get a Grivery one. This version's like $175. It's one of the more expensive ones. But you can also get them for like $100 with the Grivery handle, and now they're S30V. So not bad at all. It's really not a bad price. You get a pretty good knife. I don't particularly care for the feel of the Grivery handles, but a lot of people really do like them. And again, if you get a light color, you can dye them and all that stuff. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of aftermarket parts and scales for these because they've been around forever for a reason. They're just awesome. So if you do get a grip Tilian, you don't like it, something about it, you can probably go on the internet and find the part to change it. Not hard at all. And also now they are on the custom shop, which is cool. So if you don't know about Benchmade's custom shop, you can go on there. You can custom configure things like scale material, scale color, the blade, the blade material, if you want it coated or not, that kind of stuff. Options are a bit limited on the grip Tilian now, but I'm sure they'll expand. That's how it usually is when they launch a new knife on the custom shop. The options are a bit limited at first, and they get bigger. But truly an icon for a reason. I'm making these for a really long time, and it is very comfortable, as the grip Tilian name would indicate. I think the G10 is much more comfortable than the Grivery, but that's, to each his own. And I like the multiple blade shapes. Kind of tempted to try a Tanto one. One of my buddies wanted a Tanto one, and I thought, I forgot they made that. So I kind of want to try a Tanto one. I'm kind of into Tantos now, but that's what's great about a grip. and be like, oh, I want to try that. Oh, they make it, and you just go get it. So Tilian definitely deserves to be on top 10 all time. Next up, this is another very iconic knife. It has to make all these top 10 lists. If you're doing a top 10 of all time, this and another one that's going to be on here almost unquestionably have to be on it. They were the two that are the easiest decision. It's definitely the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Again, much like the Grip Tilian, so many different versions, even in just regular production. This happens to be a Knife Center exclusive, so you can't get this one. But even in the regular production, you know, you can get the standard one, S110V. I think the Maximat's regular production now. It's like there's so many different versions that you can get, and it's just an icon for a reason. It's really tough. Ergonomics are excellent. That iconic leaf blade shape. This one has to be crew wear, but like I said, you can get them in a million different versions. I know just today, River's Edge Cutlery dropped one, a 10V one, and they're probably all gone by the time I'm talking, so sorry about that. And you can also kind of put Para 3. The Para 3 is basically a shrunken version of this. I think the PM2 deserves this list a lot more, but a lot of people do like the Para 3. This is a Para 3 lightweight. It also comes in a million different versions like that, and it is, you know, it's just basically a smaller version of this same knife. So if you want something really small, you can put Para 3, but it's not like the Grip Tilian where it's just shrunk. It actually is a bit different shape and a few bit different characteristics, and, you know, different pocket clip mounts and all that kind of stuff. So it's a bit more different. That's why instead of saying PM2/Para 3, I'm going to say PM2, maybe Para 3, especially if you live in a place that's a 3-inch limit. You're not missing out on a ton getting a Para 3, but I like the PM2 a whole lot better. But is it my favorite Spyderco? No, it isn't. But I just think its iconic status just makes it make my top 10 of all time. I like the Capara better all around. I like the ergonomics of the Manix 2 a bit more, but there are some things I like about the PM2 a bit more. I'm kind of 50-50 on those two. But yeah, this is just a true icon. It is like the kind of EDC, the hardish use EDC knife. I won't call it true hard use EDC knife, but the hardish use EDC knife. And they're great, and there's a reason why they've made them forever, and they're never, ever, ever going to stop. And next up, this was on the list last time. Most of these have been, except, no, I guess, no, I'm sorry, only the PM2 was on the list last time. The other ones weren't. This is the Cold Steel Code 4. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. This is kind of one of these. It's like a sleeper car, you know, that car nerds know is actually secretly awesome. But they don't stay in production long. Thankfully, this has stayed in production for a very, very long time. It's still like, and they have no intentions of getting rid of it. It's just fantastic. Aluminum scales, S35 VN, that great cold steel edge, nice hollow grind, and they're $80. They're $80. Like, how can you go wrong with that? Triad lock, really tough knife, very slim handle. If there's one complaint that people ever have about it, is that it's thin and it's aluminum and they're afraid it's not going to hold in their hand well. I've never, ever found that to be a problem. It does come in multiple blade shapes, comes in this, and I know there's a Tanto. Reversible pocket clip. It has that cold steel trick of having 2 clips. So if you want to carry it lefty, you got to take that clip off, put a different one on, because you can see it's like arched and stuff. But really, really, really like the Code 4. Absolutely, probably my favorite thing that they make. The Airlight is making a case, but I still think this is probably my favorite thing they make. They're $80. Just awesome. And one of the few hollow grinds you can still find around. I don't know if they're going to be changing that. Maybe they're going to be changing that. But every place I looked right before this video still listed it as a hollow grind. So I hope that's still true, because they're mostly going to flat grinds now. And one of my favorite things about it is that nice Slicey hollow grind. Next up, we are going to do another new edition, just because it wasn't out then. The TRM Adam. I know I said you can go out and buy them. It's not 100% true with the TRM. You do have to get on a waiting list and stuff, but they are making them so regularly, and they're ramping up, and this video is going to last forever. And I do have a feeling, probably if you're watching this 2, 3, 4 months in the future, you probably are just going to be able to go buy one or wait like a month or two and get one. And that's one of the things I love about it in a way, because it has that kind of custom-y feel to it, because they are very much handmade in the US, and you can swap the scales around to make it any any freaking color you want. They have all kinds of G10. This happens to be carbon fiber and red. I have 4 different sets of scales for this because somebody custom made me some Slicey Dicey ones. It's just, and that really thin 20 CV, nice slicey blade. The price is not at all bad for what you're getting. I think with these carbon scales, it's like $220. They're right around that $200 mark, $210. It's like, they're right around that $200 mark, maybe $220. I can't remember now, but they're right around that 200 and slightly above mark. Not bad at all. And again, you can change these scales without taking the knife completely apart. You just pop off all these T6s and they just drop off and you switch them. Super easy. And you get to, I call this my Barbie knife because I change its clothes every now and then. I just dress it up sometimes, and sometimes it wants to wear its workaday clothes, and I put those on it. And I don't know why I'm using that voice. I apologize. But a just really good knife. Action on them is really good. Not quite as snappy as the Ontario, but it's darn close. And I just really like the modularness of them. I like the action, and I freaking love this blade. And again, nice, slim, super lightweight to carry. Just a freaking great knife, and awesome people to deal with. So this isn't an icon yet, but it's gonna be. It's definitely getting there in a hurry. And I know all of us reviewers rant about them for a reason. It's not hype. They're just awesome. Sometimes you rant about stuff. Everybody talks about something's great, and they're like, oh, it's all just hype. Well, sometimes it's not. Sometimes something's just really good, you know? So next up we have another icon that has to go on here. It's another Benchmade, the 940. This happens to be the most expensive one, $275. You're getting to a point now where maybe they're a bit overpriced when you get up to this, but this is the S90V carbon fiber version. It's my favorite version. It's slightly lighter, but that doesn't really matter. They're all super light. They're all super slim. They start like 180, I think, like that for the G10 one. This one I put a bug out deep carry clip on there. None of them come with deep carry clips, just to let you know that, except for I think maybe a couple of the dealer exclusives did, but Benchmade isn't doing that anymore. But again, this is a knife that they've come in a million different versions right now for, if I think maybe there's a few left somewhere, maybe for the anniversary of this knife, they came out with a special one with titanium scales, and that they're probably gone now, but I'm not sure. They've done gold class versions before, which is kind of their more exclusive ones. It is not on the custom shop. I don't get that. Why is it not in the custom shop? I don't understand that. I would almost definitely jump on there and order one immediately, because there are a few things I would like different about this one. Not much, but I don't like S90V particularly. I'd probably get a different steel, but I'm rambling now. I'm just dreaming of my dream 940 in my head. But anyway, just a true icon. It just carries so well. Osborne design, and they knocked it out of the park with this. I mean, it's been popular for, what is it? I can't remember what the anniversary was, 30 years, something like that. Maybe it's 20, I can't remember. But anyway, somebody will correct me in the comments down below, but it's been around for a really long time, and it's for a reason. Again, it's just great. It's just a really good knife. Aluminum scales, G10 scales, carbon scales, they come in several different versions. Another one that you should just really try. If you're getting into knives, this is one you just need to try one for a while. Next up, we're still in icon status here. It is the Hinderer XM18. It's been, kind of the heavy-duty use, benchmark for quite a long time. And this is the new one with the tri-way pivot, which just makes it even better. So you can run it on bearings or phosphor bronze washers or Teflon washers. I think 90% of us who own them leave them on the bearings, but I don't know. This happens to be a slicer version, the 3.5 inch. There's a 3-inch version as well. This is a 20 CV. The steels vary on them a little bit depending on the run. And again, this is one that you're not necessarily able to get exactly the version you want at the time that you want it, but you're going to be able to get an XM18. If you just want an XM18, you might have to get a different blade shape, of which there are many, or you might have not get the same scales you want, of which there are even more. And the aftermarket on these things, customizing them, is insane. You can do any freaking thing you want to one of these. You can get different clips, you can get the different back spacers, you get different pivots, scale options galore, all kinds of stuff. It's just, and they say make it your own. It's one of Hinderer's mottos, and you absolutely freaking can. And you gotta love that. You gotta love that about a Hinderer. it's not my favorite Hinderer. Again, much like the PM2, it is not my favorite Hinderer. My favorite Hinderer right now is the Jurassic, but this is, I can't deny the icon status. And the Jurassic right now, you can't get as many custom things for. And I do like that you can choke up on this. I do like that a lot. Not all of them have the forward finger choil. Depends on what option you choose. Some of them don't have the flipper. I would like a flipperless XM18. That may be something that arrives down the road. It's not a flawless knife, but it is freaking great. And you can't get past the build quality. You can't get past the history of it. It's just outstanding. Next up, this is another knife that I did not have back when I did this video, but I should have. This is the Southern Grind SpiderMonkey. It gets a lot of attention, again, from those of us that know, but it's freaking great. It's, again, runs on washers, thumb stud deployment, S35 VM. This carbon one was $220. They're a little cheaper with other materials. And again, it's another knife that a lot of different versions are out there. They've done a couple exclusives for like USA Made Blade. They do drops of their own on their own site. Ergos are great, outstanding blade. Very tough knife. The only flaw it really has is some people really hate that pocket clip. I did it first too, and I put a deep carry clip on it, and then I took it off and put the standard one back on. I kind of got used to it. It does have some proprietary hardware to take it apart, but the tool's cheap, so it doesn't really bother me that much. Just a freaking awesome knife. Extremely well built. Again, super sharp out of the box. It feels a lot more expensive than it is when you get one in your hand. And it's one that you really have to get in your hand to really appreciate it. I don't know anyone who's bought one and said, ugh, and sent it back. I'm sure there's a few people. Those are weird people, and also run by Zach Brown, the country singer. They have a camp down there for kids that, you know, are sick and stuff. And a portion of all the proceeds go to support that camp. So I can't argue with that, you know, because Zach Brown's probably already got more money than God, so he can just give, you know, he gives back and to sick kids, so that's great. So a portion of the proceeds from every knife that, whether you buy it at a dealer, you buy it from them, whatever, portion of the proceeds go to this camp, and that's just a great thing. That's just an awesome thing, and it's an awesome knife. So, but you get a really cool knife, and you do a little something nice at the same time. So glad I finally got my hands on one of these and discovered them. You know, obviously everybody else knew about them before. I just was late to the party. And lastly, I have to get this one out of my pocket because it's what I was carrying today, actually. I was looking down at my tray here, and I was like, oh no, I forgot a knife. Oh no, it's in my pocket. That's why I didn't have it. We have the Spyderco Spidey Chef. It completely rust resistant, LC200N. You have you know, they just switched. This is the CQI version, so they switched so that now even the detemp ball is ceramic, so now you don't have to worry about that getting corroded. You can pretty much do whatever you want with this, and I do. I beat the snot out of this. I had to clean this up a lot this morning because I knew I was going to do this video tonight. I cleaned it up and then thought, I'm just going to put it in my pocket. That's why I was carrying it. But this thing gets filthy, and I just don't worry about it. $234. It's not an inexpensive knife. It's not crazy for titanium frame lock, you know, with some pretty schmancy pants steel on it. But I just rinse it off in the sink and don't worry about it. Cut up food with it, rinse it off in the sink. We're doing make your own pizzas tonight. I'm probably going to use it to slice up pepperoni here as soon as this video is over with. And I'm not going to care about it. I'll probably wipe it off with a napkin and stick it back in my pocket. It's just a really, really, really good knife. And it is very good for kitchen use. It's not like a full-on chef's knife. It's called Spidey Chef, but just for little tiny prep stuff, it's really good. And that's what it was kind of designed for, but it's also just an outstanding EDC. I know everybody misses the Slicey buoy. This is the same designer by the way, Martin Swish, however you say it. But it's I don't miss the buoy that much. I did get to play with the buoy a bit, and it's great. It's probably just as good as this, but I still like this a whole hell of a lot. So that's it. That is my top 10 EDCs of all time. Again, in no particular order. It's just the order that I wrote them down with. I actually read them in reverse. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. And again, open tag. Anybody else wants to do this, knock it out. Just shoot me an email, sliceydaisy75@gmail.com, and I will add it to the playlist so that everybody else can go see it. Stay safe out there, everybody, and have a good one.